big sense, we all recognize, my whole team, me included, recognizes that there are a large number of factors that play into sort of a biopsychosocial understanding of the risk of sport injury in any situation. But one that we talk a lot, certainly, about in a class that I teach and in the writings in this area is the sociocultural dimensions, how the very culture of sport creates a risky situation, if you will. And I pulled out one chapter from a book on sport and pain and injury in sport, more of a sociological slant or a biomedical, bioethical sort of slant on things, in which the authors, who have published quite a lot of research on the socioculture of sport injury, really looked at their data, particularly on female athletes, and tried to compare and contrast sort of similarities and differences in the pains that emerged from the female athletes that they had interviewed, surveyed, and observed over several different studies from Canada and England. And so the female athletes are from a variety of sports, but they're of a collegiate age. And these four blocks reflect what they would call the genders, what I would call, but to me are their gender similar themes. So males and females both reflected all of these themes in their conversations and interviews and so forth. That both males and females hide pain and fear judgment from significant others. Both males and females disrespect pain, they're annoyed, they're irritated, they're frustrated, they're bitter, and they cope via some unhealthy mechanisms. Both males and females do that. Both males and females do not welcome pain. They consider it a nuisance. They are accused of being fakers or stigmatized, and they feel pressure from coaches, teammates, and others. And both males and females use patterns of depersonalizing pain, talking about the me as opposed to my me, or using what they call techno-rational terms. What were different, these were what, to me, were their gender-different themes. So in terms of pain stories, these are their words, not mine, pain stories, they suggested that their interviews would tell them there was a bit of a gender difference and that men tend to isolate and deal with pain and injury in sport more privately, that the females were more likely to discuss their injury openly with others and seek sort of social support or sharing their stories. Secondly, they saw this fairly unique theme, or the opposite theme as what was seen in male athletes in terms of femininity, and that female athletes who felt disfigured or scarred or had bandages or markers, as they called them, of injury, felt less feminine or felt like it affected their sexuality and so forth. Whereas again, if anything, for males that was a badge of courage or a badge of honor to be scarred or disfigured or cauliflower-eared or whatever. So again, they did hear female athletes talking about that. And finally, they heard a theme from the female athletes of feeling that there were very disparate sports medicine opportunities available to them. They felt the services and so forth that were provided to them were inferior to or were lesser than what male athletes received. So again, there is some evidence of different socioculture and similarity for both males and females. So just as I said, in the words of the authors, they would suggest that the similarity between males and females is that both embrace the sport norms of dealing with pain and injury and feeling expected to play with pain and injury. The gender difference, the answer to my question, does gender matter? Yes, somewhat, because the gender norms are a little bit different in terms of, again, femininity, sexuality, medical care, and so forth.